Occupy the bear's house. Once upon a time, everything starts with a story. And tonight, I'm going to tell you a story. The story of Goldilocks and the three bears. Goldilocks und die drei Bären. Okay? Who knows this story? Can you raise your hand? Oh, quite a lot on this side. Not very much on this side. So I'm going to refresh your memory. Maybe this rings a bell. So it's about a little girl named Goldilocks, because she has golden curly hair. She's a very curious and adventurous little girl. She goes out of her home in a forest, and she's looking for something, but she doesn't know what she's looking for, actually, but she gets lost, and she gets very tired, she gets hungry and desperate, and then she comes upon a house which is deserted. What does she do? Well, she's hungry. She sees some fantastic breakfast bowls on a table, so she helps herself with the first one. What it is, it's too hot. Wow, impossible. She tastes another one, too cold. She tastes the first one, and guess what? It's perfect. And she eats it all completely. Then she goes and sits in a chair. She sits in a chair that is too high and too hard. Then she sits in a chair that's too small and too low. And then she finds a chair that is just right. She sits in it, and actually she breaks it. She's tired. She goes upstairs, and she's asleep. She's really looking for a place to sleep. So she tries a bed, which is too hard, too high. She tries another one, which is too soft. She gets completely lost inside. And then she finds another one that, you guessed it, is just right. She falls asleep. The occupants of the house, which happen to be bears, a family of bears, Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and little baby bear, return. They frighten her, they scare her, and she runs away from this house, and she promises she will never go back again. Okay, so what does it tell us about women at the workplace? Women never get it right. They never get it the too hot, but too cold, but just right. Even the just right, it's absolutely impossible for them. And I'm going to tell you tonight about women. In an assembly of, we were speaking with my neighbor speaker, who is also a woman, about a majority of men here. So, what is the consequence of this effect at the workplace? Well, actually, it's a big silence. Women are supposed to be talkative. We always say, well, she talks a lot. She talks and talks and talks. Yes, in private, with her friends, at home, but in public spaces, do you see women speaking? Not so much. So I researched, because it's my passion. I'm really completely dedicated to this subject. And I was looking for figures and numbers to really give some depth and ethos to my talk. So here they are. Imagine you're an alien. So you were Goldilocks, now you're an alien. I was looking for illustration of an alien, by the way, and Dirk told me that the one I have found were absolutely ridiculous. And it's true, it's very difficult to find a picture of an alien. Well, imagine iStock photo, alien, well, not very easy. Imagine you're an alien and you arrive on the Earth and you're looking for who makes the news and who is really talking, who is responsible for it. Well, what you find, you have this guy with a tie, you don't have a face, but what you hear and what you read in the newspaper, it's 76% made by men, which is enormous. I had to illustrate it in another way. 3 out of 4, I'm not very good with numbers, so okay, twice. 76%, 3 out of 4 men are making this news. So it is not only we hear from a man's point of view, we watch experts who are speaking from their point of view. We don't hear the woman's point of view. Well, we see them, but they are more like Barbie girls, and Barbie girls, they don't do maths. Well, women at TED. Well, thank you. I'm here. I'm absolutely grateful. It's wonderful. Still, it's a very low percentage. I had to really search to find this number, and it's 27%. So there is a whole also polemic with TED Women event, which is great, but again, there is a reason why women would talk as men. 50% of women should be present at TED, and I think we're getting closer to this gap. This is a high number for conferences, by the way. We were talking also with a student in, innovation, in scientific innovation from Stuttgart. She will recognize herself, who was telling me there were 10% of women students in science, in STEM, scientific, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Time is good. Parliament, I just wanted to come back to this. In the technological and scientific conference, it's less than 10%. Everywhere and globally, that's really the number that you get. It's stunning. Well, it got me thinking about politics, women in politics, women who talk, because power is talk. Talking is about getting the power. If you can talk, you have your voice. When you vote, you say that you have a voice. And if women don't have voices, they can't exert the power, and they can't express their way of dealing with power, which is really something we need to shift in our world today. So I looked at the etymology of the word parliament, and it comes from a French name, parler. And it occurred to me that if women really want to have their role in the society, there need to be more women in the parliaments. And the numbers, again, globally, 90.5% in all the parliaments of the world are only composed of women. This is a figure which the secretary of the, I don't remember his name, of the Union of the Parliamentaries say that it was a shame, and it was not explainable by the level of our education and of our society. This is absolutely absurd. So this is something I wanted to share. Oh, the women CEOs. Okay, I could go on and on again. I will spare you my big battle. But women CEOs, 3% of Fortune's 500. Okay, no comment. So, conclusion, it's a male-dominated world. And I'm not saying this resenting or blaming in any way men, because I think women and men are responsible for this. We are co-responsible for the situation we're in. And I think men are suffering as much as women from this state. So let's go back to Goldilocks and the Three Bears, because we are here for a story. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You remember, here is Papa Bear, okay? Papa Bear archetype, and it's a masculine archetype. So what is the masculine archetype? Strong, tough, doesn't show his feeling, doesn't express much, very... I was supposed to transform myself at this time, but I didn't know how to. So, okay, this strong guy, a wordle maybe is better. Powerful, in charge, really high status, responsibility, social power, president, the boss, the chef, etc. So this is what society encourages. I mean, the higher you go in the hierarchy, if you conform to these norms, you're really seen as the best, the best guy with the highest salaries and the highest responsibilities, and well, it's good. It's good to be a man if you really conform to these norms. The problem is that many men are fed up with conforming to these norms. How many of you wish there were not so many norms to conform to, please? Okay, that's what, thank you 1,000 times. That's a part of including men in the gender balance challenge. It's not very acceptable to challenge masculine norms. It's so deeply embedded in our mind that it's very difficult to do this. Let's do a Stanford experiment. I like this picture because it reminds me of my kid, actually. I told her, I have 5 children, and one of them looks exactly like this one, but it's not him. Stanford experiment. Frank Flynn, a Stanford professor. You're not supposed to look at the screen, yes, okay. Frank Flynn, a Stanford professor, decided to study the impact of the gender on leadership. So he took a Harvard business case, a woman called Heidi Rosen. Heidi Rosen, she's a venture capitalist, she's a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, very successful, very brave. What he did is that he changed the case from Heidi Rosen to Howard Rosen. And he randomly distributed the case to 2 different parts of his class. He asked his students to go online and to rate how they judged, how they rated Rosen. The results were really breathtaking. They said they didn't like her. They wouldn't want to work with her. They wouldn't hire her. Why? Because she was too aggressive, because she was a bossy woman, she was as competent but less humble, and she was more power-hungry. Would you say that of a man? You're power-hungry. Yeah, that's my job, to be power-hungry. No, but for a woman, you have to be ashamed if you're power-hungry. So, women are damned if they do. And in fact, you have plenty of examples in the movies. Think of archetypes of, these roles in the movies like Glenn Close. You see Glenn Close in Damages. You see Meryl Streep in A Devil Named Prada. Well, all these are really contributing to nurturing the myth that when women have power, they are devils, they are Cruella in the Walt Disney movie, witches. So they're damned if they do. And if they don't, if they behave like Mama Bear, okay? Mama Bear, okay, so it's wonderful. You're sharing, you're hugging everybody, you're a cheerleader, you're nurturing, you're listening, you're warm-hearted. Well, you do all this kind of stuff which are supportive. You understand so well, you listen so well. But when women start to really conform to these norms, what happens is that they are viewed as less competent. This is a research from Catalyst. Catalyst, which is a leading global non-profit organization who studies gender at the workplace. And actually today it's their 50th anniversary. 50 years of researching and advancing women. 2012, it started in 1962, and well, we still have a lot of work to do. So Catalyst showed that, in fact, damned if you do, damned if you don't, like Eleanor Roosevelt said. So what's the way out? What's the way out of this double-bind dilemma? Goldilocks, you remember, she's afraid, she's lost, she's hungry, she's locked out in the labyrinth. One way to be out could be to dance the chameleon dance. Okay, to shift from one archetype to the other, to be tougher when it's needed, to be softer when it's needed too. Okay, but that makes really you look like a sort of clown in a corporate circus, and is it really what we want? Is it really what we want to create clowns that are really shifting from one thing to the other? I advocate for another solution, because it's not about fixing the woman. It's about occupying the bear's house. It's about being there and with the bears, redesigning the bear's house altogether. The counter disappeared, so I have all my time. Okay. And it's about occupying the bear's house and maybe finding a roadmap and a dictionary for the gender to be speaking to each other, gender bilingual dictionary. I didn't invent it. Aviva Wittenberg-Cox, who is really the leading expert on gender in the world, really wrote 2 fantastic books about it. So it's half of the talent and half of the market. It's also 60% of the graduates of the world. Think about it. But not only it's about 60% of the graduates, but it's also, as Indra Nooyi, CEO of PepsiCo said, it's more than, forget the internet, forget China, forget India, it's all of that all together, what the women are representing for us. This is the idea that I want to convey for you, with you tonight. This is what we need to see. And until now, everything that we have done has been a little success, but not the big shift that we are waiting. Because we could really change the way we look at these 2 archetypes, and I'm spitting there, to give this quote from John Hagel, who is the co-chairman of the Center of the Age in California, from Deloitte. The future belongs to those of us, female or male, who can adapt and embrace the feminine archetype. What does it mean? It means that in each of us there is, the yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine. We each have a part of it. And if only we could allow ourselves to express fully who we are, our vulnerability, our fears, our desires, then only we could create really together a better place to work. And it's up to all of us to go and create it. Thank you.